Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Oh, yeah, here I am. Welcome back. Started on time, I'm proud to say. And this is Susan's first time back since our hiatus. Hi, Suze.
Hi. You did it for real.
Okay. No, you mean no? I'm pretty good, actually. Just a little.
Good.
Just a little. So it's been a while.
It has been a while. Yeah. It has been a while, yeah. And I thought of all the depressing conversations we didn't have to have in the last.
I know. Isn't it wonderful?
I know. I just keep thinking, just when you think it can't get worse, never say it can't get worse.
No, I have said that. It took me a while to learn that, but just living life, you learn that. So older people should never, ever say that. We have learned that's not true. Young people, I can understand saying, but no, life shows you that.
Yeah, we thought the pandemic and being locked up for 2 years was the worst that could possibly happen. We didn't realize it was followed by World War III. So there you go.
There we go. So I want to actually, speaking of the difficulties with Russia and Ukraine,
yes,
the troubles. I want to talk about the bravery of that woman who interrupted,
who has been disappeared.
Yeah, big shock there. I mean, when I first saw what she did, you knew she was going to be.
You knew you were looking at a late person.
Probably.
She was going to be disappeared one way or the other.
That is extraordinary courage, because she knew it too. It's not as if her interrupting that newscast, where she had already clearly intended to do so, had drawn up the sign and had left a video in case things went awry. And I don't know if you've seen her video, but it is, oh my God. I still don't, her name, by the way, and I don't know that I'm going to pronounce it right, is Marina Ovsyannikova. Ovsyannikova. I'm not quite sure. She's a beautiful woman, young woman. And she had worked for, this Putin's favorite. This is the channel that puts out Putin's propaganda. This is the main channel, masquerading as news. Channel 1, in fact. And she has been a part of that as, I believe, an editor. And you know what's extraordinary? Looking at Twitter, there are people that are suggesting that she knew full well that this would never air, that this was all a hoax, that it in fact was done by Putin to show that there is some, I don't know, it makes no sense.
These things never make sense.
But they're out there. They are really out there. And the one thing I don't know is, and I saw there was a tweet that supposedly came out of Australia, and it's been picked up by somebody suggesting that that this network does not broadcast its news live. And she would know that it was taped, and consequently it would never air. Now, I have no idea if that's true, But boy, that's picked up steam. And, here's like one of those tweets. How do we know it wasn't staged by Russian propaganda?
To what end?
Well, that's what they say. There are some good people in Russia. Don't sanction Russians ploy. It has been mentioned that Russia does not broadcast its news program live. So they start to then spread these. I don't know. It's unbelievable. And I was saying yesterday that people have to, stop listening to the experts that are trotted out by cable news and network news and trust yourself to seek out information and news and make up your own mind. But you see, this is why it's so troubling to try to ascertain truth now. I have little doubt that woman did what she did as an act of extraordinary courage. Can I read her video?
Sure,
it's short. She left this video, and here it is. What is happening right now in Ukraine is a crime, and Russia is the aggressor. And the responsibility for this aggression lies on the conscience of only one person. This man is Vladimir Putin. My father is Ukrainian. My mother is Russian. And they were never enemies. And this necklace on my neck is a symbol of the fact that Russia must immediately stop this fratricidal war. And then our brotherly peoples will still be able to reconcile. Unfortunately, she says, in recent years, I have been working on Channel 1, working for Kremlin's propaganda, and I am very ashamed of it. I am ashamed that I was letting them tell those lies from the screen. I'm ashamed that I allowed to zombify the Russian people. We kept silent in 2014 when all this was just in the beginning. We didn't go to rallies when the Kremlin poisoned Navalny. We just silently watched this inhumane regime. And now the whole world has turned away from us. And even 10 generations of our descendants will not be enough to wash away the shame of this fratricidal war. We are Russian people, thoughtful and smart. It is up to us to stop this madness. Come out to rallies. Don't be afraid. They cannot imprison all of us. That's her video. Wow. Wow. If she surfaces again, I will be stunned. And we're being reminded what courage really is. It's weird. I just last night was reading a comic book that is put out by the Holocaust Museum here that takes the stories of bravery and courage in.
We don't have time. You're on a clock. This is a business walk. And he got it all done before I got back and called in timely. So
good. Yeah. For all the good that all did.
Okay. Did anybody hear the dog poop story?
No, I'm not hearing anything. But it's just down.
We're down. Okay. Well, listen. Then I'm going
to... You're going to leave?
No, I won't.
Maybe wait just 5 minutes or so, because
I'll wait 5 minutes. Sometimes it comes back. So our accountant tried to call in during that. I'll have to call him back.
I'm still waiting for a K1.
I'll ask him. But I know he said that he... I never see any of my K1s because...
Oh, right. You say they go to your...
They go directly to him because he does them. And he does my taxes. So actually, he's probably just waiting for the 3 numbers of mine that he doesn't have.
Okay. Now, Kevin, my producer, thinks we're back up. And Milton says we're back.
Go. Right. So I'll stop talking about my taxes, folks. It's absolutely none of your business.
Susan and I were just talking about still haven't gotten our taxes together. Okay. Okay. So thank you. I'm hearing from a lot of folks. You're on air. I just heard you guys talking about dog poop.
Yay, you hit the dog poop story. Boy, then you got the whole tax thing, too. Jeez, I apologize.
Okay, whatever. It's okay.
Which is about as far as my rewind button goes. At least my memory's working this morning. And
so did anybody, here's what I need to know. Did any of you hear what we talked about with the brave Russian woman? Did that go out at all? Because I want to give her due.
Well, do it again.
I don't want to do it again if they heard it. So somebody let me know. Did you hear us talking about that extraordinarily brave and probably now tortured and dead?
If she's lucky, yeah.
Dead. Yeah.
I'm worried that they're still torturing her.
Who interrupted the Russian news broadcast. Did you hear that? Because that's what we were mostly talking about. And if you did, we won't repeat. But if you didn't, I definitely do want to read her video that she left, which I suspect, because it is out there, will get a lot more views and then perhaps her. Yes, they heard the Russian story.
Okay.
Oh no, and Art's telling me. He said it's all stopped at mention of the comic book. Okay, well, the comic book just told another story, a real story of a 21-year-old German student during World War II.
Right, and it's also just about the delivery. Putting it in a form that people will access the information. Of course, in today's public school education, that could get you fired. That poor vice principal who had the terrible judgment to read a book to children that would get them excited about reading. And got fired
and
for
he was
it.
Fired.
Yeah.
And it was if you hadn't heard that story, this is a guy who obviously a caring and good teacher of like 20 some years.
He's a vice principal, and he was standing in for, a missing librarian or something. He was subbing.
Who was supposed to read to the kids. And he was told on a moment's notice, oops, you're going to have to step in. And so he grabbed a book that his kids love and read it. And the kids he read it to loved it. And then some parent complained, and he's now out of job. And
the book was My Butt is Broken, I think is the name of it. And it's because the kid notices that there's a crack in his tush. And the whole point, and I remember this from my early days as a teacher of young non-readers, that you'll do anything to get them to understand that the road to where they want to be is through reading. And you'll use anything. And one of the things that you do is laughter, is funny, silly stuff at a child's level. And what's more at a child's level than talking about your tush and your crack?
Yeah, exactly.
So this guy gets fired. And he's got 3 special needs kids. He's a single parent of 3 special needs kids, and he's got a GoFundMe page that is paying for an attorney and trying to keep him eating while he wants to get his job back. And I'm thinking, oh, honey, you can't go back to that school. How could you go back to that school?
You know what? If you ever wondered what it was like during, the Salem witch trials and the McCarthy era,
this is it.
We're back.
And I don't know how anybody expects their kid's teacher to wake up in the morning with excitement instead of dread. I mean, with everything that's been going on, to throw this on teachers' heads as well is so, I don't know how, I can't think of the nasty word that I want to say. I mean, it is the lowest. It is the nastiest. It is the most despicable thing that any parent could do to a teacher. And anybody that's thinking of berating a teacher in any way, just look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself what an asshole you are. Excuse me, I'm done.
You know, and another case in point, the cancel culture can go both ways, obviously. This is not that big a deal, but there was a tennis match in California recently where that, what was her name?
Naomi Osaka. Yeah.
Lost, played badly and lost. And some woman, I believe, shouted out, Osaka, you suck. And it was that was before she lost. I mean, it you know, she's had like problems with the mental stress of what she does, and it broke her. And she ended up losing, and she left in tears again. And I want to know, what kind
can I just say there's a history, though?
Someone's got to know, but somebody's got to know who that woman is.
Who that woman was. Why doesn't somebody just stand up and say, the bitch is right here?
Yeah.
Talk to her. Let's out her. This is this woman that thinks that she has the right to say whatever she wants to anybody. And I got to say, folks, and I understand that in the last 6 years we've felt that way. And now we've got people running around beating up old women because they feel like it, and screaming at people because they feel like it. But what's partly behind her not being able to take what it would be a seemingly innocuous comment is the history of that particular tournament and the racist guff that comes out of the stands at Serena Williams and her sister and then when she hears it, she's hearing it with different ears than we white folk think that our clever little comments, you know. And I don't know who thinks that you suck is ever a clever comment, by the way.
Well, by the way, Osaka is black and racially black and Asian,
right? Which is about as undesirable a combination as one can put together in these troubled times in the United States.
So yeah, I am so sick and tired. So the woman who got this guy fired, the vice principal, the woman who did that at the match, these people have got to be called out, have got to be shamed.
They got to suffer some consequences for the damage that they do to other people's lives with their little snits. And I can promise you, they're entertaining themselves. They are enjoying this. They are enjoying tormenting teachers. Yes. Well,
they feel
we've got to make it less enjoyable. And the schools sure as hell need to start backing up their teachers. And to the extent that they don't stand up in front of their teachers and as an administration and protect them, shame on them.
Well, it's time for courage.
It's time for courage, and that, by the way, gets back to the school boards, and it's time for you to back up the administration. And not be afraid if you lose your seat. Big deal.
Right. Well, there is a paucity of courage in this country. All you need do is look at the cowering Republican Party, unable to even raise their voice. The only one is what? Liz Cheney. And,
who is now begging to Democrats to help her get reelected.
Well, I don't even know why she'd bother. It's the whole thing's beyond me. Anyway, this is awful. I don't want to talk about it. People didn't hear. I just want to give Sophie Scholl a shout out because
do it again.
The audio cut out with this 21-year-old German and her brother who were in Hitler Youth and all that stuff, and then went off to the university, and he went off to fight, and he saw things he couldn't believe, and she started hearing things she couldn't believe, and the next thing you know, they were actually engaged in something called critical thinking. And they decided they couldn't just allow the country they loved to be taken over by these vile Nazis. And so they organized a little group of a few like-minded young people, and they put out some pamphlets, which they would surreptitiously leave around so that people would see them. And then, unfortunately, once at the university, some good German saw her with the pamphlets, and she and her brother and then other members of their group were all caught. They were tried for treason, and immediately after the trial, she was decapitated. 21 years old. Courage. No courage involving, no courage is needed to heckle a professional athlete. Although I don't even like I don't like fans booing their own team. And I was stunned the first time I heard it because I had no recollection of hearing that in my childhood.
We were back in the age of good sportsmanship, and you just don't do those things.
Yeah, and this was back in the 50s when the Packers never won a game, and I never heard booing. And then all of a sudden, booing. You boo your own team. And I remember once talking about that on my radio show, that I found it disgusting. And boy, did I get blowback. I mean, everybody came at me saying, I buy a ticket for us. I get to say whatever I want. And
no, you don't.
Well, yes, you do. I mean, technically, yes, you do. It's not against the law. So yes, you do. It's what we allow and tolerate and what is considered okay. And clearly, booing your own players is totally okay now. Totally okay. Like they don't know they stink. That's the part I never can get. It's like, they don't know they stink.
Right. The guy didn't notice he dropped the ball. Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't get it. I don't think anyone who boos their own team is a fan, and I don't care. And I know that most people, believe me, I learned that day, most people do not agree with me.
Well, I think we need to get, I'm all for going back to the days of at least pretend civility. It wallpapers over a lot of ugliness, and in the course of so doing, actually manages to model more appropriate behavior. So let's go back to the days of hypocrisy.
You know what, though? I'm afraid that, once this hypocrisy, the oil of, just social intercourse that we used to, subscribe to, once that is breached, I don't think there's any getting it back. I don't. And what it's been replaced with is instead fear and self-censorship. And that is coming from crazies. The fear is being instilled by crazy people on both sides. And I will add the left here for its, all this crazed nonsense of, making everybody snowflakes and, oh, I'm triggered. I can't go to that class because the professor was talking about something that's so upsetting to me. That played into this idea that anything that offends anybody is not allowable. So the right now has picked it up big time, and is doing great damage to our education system.
Right.
Great damage.
Right. And I didn't like it at the other end either. I mean,
No, I don't
part of education is preparation for life in the real world. And
talk about a paucity of courage.
You cannot walk out in the real world expecting everybody to give two bits about your triggers. I mean, how are they to know them in the first place? And believe me, there's something that triggers everybody.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just, well, that's what.
Like mouth noises. Can we talk mouth noises?
Oh, I hate them. Oh, God, I hate mouth noises. My dog's mouth, anything my dog does.
Well, the dog's licking themselves at 3 a.m.
Oh, God, that is the most disgusting. It is because it's so slurpy. It's so like, oh, God, you could die. And I can't. I mean, totally takes any pleasure away if you're watching like a movie or something and, you get tight on people kissing.
Yeah, oh, God.
Ugh. Mouth noise.
I just want to point out, did you see how quickly I could redirect this conversation?
Well, that's good. I'd rather talk about mouth noises than these heavy stuff. God. Okay.
All right, sorry. But
Okay,
that came up because I was dining with my daughter and her family a few nights ago, and her baby is now sitting in a chair and eating with a spoon and making the most horrifying noises while doing so. And I wasn't paying any attention, but Julie, who lives with them and helps care for her when she's going while she's going to college. I don't know how she's doing any of this. It just was turning green. She couldn't stand the noise so much.
Sometimes, I think coming from a baby,
it wouldn't bother you at all. It didn't bother me in the slightest.
So. No, it doesn't bother me. The babies get a pass, I think. That's what I think, but what do I know? Anyway, let's go light. I can't do this.
Okay. Go. Light. See?
Wait a minute. Let's see. Here's sort of light. Did you see that our former First Lady, Melania?
Well, she's selling all of her shit. That I saw.
Yes, but this was her latest scam. She is so unbelievable. So she was, auctioning off her clothes, or underwear. I don't know, her hat.
Her hat.
Oh, this is the hat I wore. Yeah, and I don't think that went so well. Anyway, then she came up with a fundraiser that she said would benefit children in foster care and maimed puppies or something. Yeah.
Right.
And here's what it was. It was to be called, it was just one event that you could buy a table for $50,000. And it was called Tulips and Topiaries. And you would see elaborate flower gardens and eat delicious hors d'oeuvres.
And she'd take your money. And yes, she got in trouble because she didn't, register.
Well,
there were no actually identified charities.
There were no charities really identified. That was just to get the money in. And here's the thing about it, though.
Well, they've been doing that for years.
No. Here's what blew me away, Susan. This is in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Where she and her, husband are in exile. All the Trumps, I believe, are
living at Mar-a-Lago where they're not allowed to live. I never understood how that one went away, but anyway.
Well, that went away. But so she had teamed with some company that was organizing this for her. And as usual, of course, she teamed up with a bunch of crooks. So what shut this down, what shut her, what is it, tulips and topiaries down, what was, this is what blew me away, the state of Florida. Now explain to me how the state of Florida, run by you-know-who.
Well, I'll explain, because you-know-who is going to challenge you-know-who else for the presidency.
No, I don't think that would be the reason. He's still walking this thin line, trying not to ruffle the Trump supporters and not to... I don't think so. A state agency. I think this is somebody
went rogue and actually did their job.
Some bureaucrat actually did their job and said, wait a minute, you can't do this. These people you're not registered to solicit any contributions of any kind. This is against the law, what you're doing. So the state of Florida shut it down. That to me is the most amazing thing. The state of Florida shut down a Trump grift.
Well, I mean, she's got no luck. I mean, she has that auction for her NFT, whatever that was, and only with Bitcoin, and then the market tanks. It's almost as if somebody's being punished. Well, that's Schadenfreude. Excuse me. I shouldn't be that blatant about it.
Well, listen, you're not alone.
And I would like to be clear. I ain't getting that big a thrill out of everybody seizing these oligarchs' yachts. I mean, big deal.
Why?
Well,
there's a lot going on. A lot going on that is not necessarily helpful. I do like the squatters in London in one of the oligarchs' mansions. I do like that, and they're hoping to repurpose it to take in refugees. I do like that. Let's do an obit. That always cheers me up.
Oh yay! Let's hear it for the obits.
Here's a guy, Gary North. You ever heard of him? Nah, I hadn't. He's dead. He died at the age of 80. This is a guy who was, I guess...
now that I'm 70, that sounds young to me. Okay, go ahead.
No, I know. You said go ahead. That's one.
One.
Okay. He wrote a book that was called Introduction to Christian Economics.
No, that escaped my reading list in my.
And in it,
we Jews like our own economics, I hear.
Yeah. He said that society and no government should be able to escape the ethical limits set by St. Paul. And he quoted Paul in Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians? I don't know what. 2 Thessalonians walked into a bar. And
where is Thessalonia?
I don't know. Doesn't exist anymore. Probably Ukraine. Thessalonians. You try saying it. Paul said to the Thessalonians that if any would not work, neither should he eat. Doesn't seem very Christian, does it?
No, what if you're sick?
I don't know. But this guy thought that was the kind of Christianity he liked, because he said in his world there would be no welfare. And he became very, very, very much a guy who's helped start the whole right-wing evangelical religious right political movement, the underpinnings of it. He is credited with reshaping the Republican Party, actually, turning it into this mean-spirited party that now exists.
And claiming that God told him so. Yeah.
That's right. He said in 1981, this is when he was most popular, he wrote, "Christians must begin to organize politically within the present party structure, and they must begin to infiltrate the existing institutional order." Well, man, they picked that up and ran with it, did they not?
They did.
So this is a very, very influential son of a bitch. Gary North, a guy you never heard of, is the one that said to the religious, but didn't quite exist as much as it did, you got to politicize. We've got.
Oh, wait a minute, but I forgot. This is an obituary.
Yes, he did. So he was urging on the anti-abortion protesters to be much more aggressive at clinics. He went so far as to propose a Christian theocracy in America, calling for death by stoning for abortion, adultery, and homosexuality, saying that was what the scriptures prescribed. And people looking back at what he did said, one of the effects of his extremism was that he allowed everyone else just coming in a little, no, I don't think we should stone people to death, to appear to be
liberal,
moderate, reasonable, middle of the road. This is always how these things work, how a party and a country gets pulled in a direction. You have these guys, the Gary Norths, taking out such an extraordinarily repugnant position, so that others just pulling it back a little bit with the veneer. I'm crediting one of our emailers who has a subject line called "The Veneer of Civilization." I'll get to your email in just a second. Okay, so he also, this is more of his words, almost any anti-abortion stance seems nuanced. Oh, here's somebody else. Any anti-abortion stance seems nuanced when compared with Gary North's advocacy of public execution. Yeah. So here's the one thing that I found that gave me great pleasure, besides just the knowledge that he's dead. He went into telling people how they should eat, how they should, how to remain healthy. And citing personal experience, he told his followers that eating berries from saw palmetto shrubs will relieve any prostate issues that you have. And that this is something he had done, and it was amazing. I just want to note.
Well, he could have been right about some things.
No. I want to note the second line of his obit. His death from complications of prostate cancer.
sorry, condolence, I suppose, to his family. I just keep thinking it's when people like that, if everything they believe is true and they actually are meeting their maker, how surprised are they going to be?
Well, I often fantasize about that, but I just don't think it'll happen because I don't think that's what happens. Anyway, David has written, I think this is because of your rant about social norms disappearing. Somewhere that we should get back to the hypocrisy of
oh, right, of civility, right?
Yes. Somewhere down the line of the casualties of war is the veneer of civilization. And it has become an inescapable observation that abandoning the veneer of civilization with Trumpism and Putinism has led to war. Well, it certainly led to a lot of unhappiness in our own country. Yes.
Well, yeah, and it's led to war in the Ukraine. That's what that thing is going on there. That's war. And today we got three world leaders from NATO going into Kyiv to show solidarity. So this is stepping up. It's not stepping down.
I have to tell you, I just pray that Zelensky will survive this.
I do too, but I
don't see how.
Part of me actually agrees with the Ukrainians. I don't know at what point we think it's right to step in. I mean, why? If he isn't stopped in the Ukraine, he's going to have to be stopped someplace else.
And so there'll always be the risk of whatever risk we're not willing to take of setting off.
If that doesn't go away, we might as well,
That's the thing I don't get either. Right. So
at what point do we decide?
If he knows, that if he knows, and China looking on, Xi knows that we are fearful of their nuclear capabilities and their bellicosity, and we won't intervene because of that fear, for fear of what it will set off. If they know that, then what's to keep them from just grabbing up everything?
Just keep going. That's the
part I don't get. I
mean, every time we let them bomb another civilian target, we're just saying, yeah, okay, we cede you Ukraine, but stop there, please. Yes, okay, that's fine. I think
I don't quite,
He'll wait another 10 years, and then he'll take another step. He's got to wait for a whole new crop of young men to grow up to sacrifice to his.
Well, apparently he's looking for what? He's looking for recruits in Syria now.
Yep.
And looking for help with supplies.
From China, which China is denying.
Fascinating that then he went into this just obviously with the assumption that he was just going to roll over the Ukrainians and that the Ukrainians would roll over. And this is what happens when you are living in an extraordinarily hermetically sealed bubble.
And you believe your own lies, and you begin to believe your own lies.
So that's the part I don't get. Really. Okay, so let's talk about something funny. Here's something funny.
The last time you tried this, you came up with an obit that wasn't funny at all. The only funny part is he died of prostate cancer. Ha ha.
Well, that was the punchline. It just took a while getting to.
Okay, funny try number 2. Go.
Okay, this happened while I was on hiatus. I remember the first time I heard that word. It was when Ann Devlin, who was a talk show host here in Pittsburgh, and she had a television show at the station I was at, and they announced that the show was going on hiatus, and I thought, what the fuck? That's why I thought, what the fuck is that? What does that mean? Do you believe it? I was that old and I didn't know what it meant.
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember knowing when I learned what that meant.
Because people didn't use it. I'd never heard it used. And yes, they were going on hiatus. And I thought that was very highfalutin. I thought, why don't you just say,
I'm taking a break.
Yeah, right.
I'm taking a break, but the show's coming back. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. That's, what I would have said. Anyway, this happened while I was on hiatus. So you might know it, but I thought it was a riot. This shows again how people adhering to rules can do the most extraordinarily stupid things. People incapable of sort of thought and consequences. This is a story about that poor Catholic priest in Arizona who over 20 years baptized a gazillion people, right?
Yeah.
And somehow somebody reported him to the bishop saying, Father Arango said, we baptize you rather than I baptize you. That's not right. And it turns out that the informant was, technically correct. The priest is supposed to say, I baptize you. But
maybe the priest's pronouns were we.
Yeah. And maybe the priest was being more, inclusive.
Speaking on behalf of the church.
Yes, right. And so he had always said, we baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and the idiot bishop of the Diocese of Phoenix
invalidated all of his baptisms?
Yes. He was so freaked out by this unbelievable error that he sent out a message to all of his parishioners notifying them that if they had been baptized by this poor priest, they were not baptized and they had to be re-baptized. And he said, if you were baptized using the wrong words, that means your baptism is invalid. And the poor priest has been brought low. And he has apologized and asked for forgiveness.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. And I do mean that.
Yes. Un-effing believable. I even think Catholics would agree with me on that.
I'm sure.
The I dotters and T crossers and constipated bureaucrats. I don't know. Unbelievable. I have a call. We have a call. Being more inclusive there, Suze.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hello?
If I were 20 or 30 years younger, I would be so mad at you two for laughing at prostate cancer, people dying of prostate cancer. How dare you?
Did that trigger you?
It was just that particular person.
It was that particular person dying of prostate cancer.
Okay. All right.
Because
he told everybody to eat berries so they
wouldn't get prostate trouble. Yeah. I was just pointing out that he was wrong on every count, including what led to his own death.
Okay. Well, luckily I'm not 30-something or 40-something, and not to paint such a.
Why would that make a difference? Wait, I don't understand why if you were 20 years younger you'd be offended.
Because I think they're offended at everything.
No,
I understand. You're too old to be offended. I got it.
It's like,
yeah, hey, we are too.
What
pretty
the
much.
Oh yeah. Hey, have either of you seen a Norwegian series on Netflix? I think it started in 2013 called Occupied.
No.
It's subtitled, and Norway. They're on. The Prime Minister is presenting to the world this new. It takes place like 10 years in the future, not too far out. about this new energy source, and it's going to take us off the need for fossil fuels forever. It's wonderful. Next thing you know, he's being invaded by Russia. And it's all subtitled, except when it gets really involved. And the EU is all behind Russia because they want their oil, damn it. And it's just like, it's very frustrating because I'm watching this for the first time just when I didn't even. There's probably I saw.
Okay, so you're into this, and now Russia. You're rooting for Russia in this, or the EU is rooting for Russia?
The EU is because
okay,
yeah, so anyway, but my wife and I started watching this right before the invasion, and we're watching the whole thing. It's like, it is so maddening, and the fact that the prime minister is stuck at every way because he's getting no support from anywhere else in the world. It's amazing. But anyway, you might want to watch it. And what's interesting is it's subtitled, but when the Russians and Norwegians speak, they have to speak common language, so it's always English. And so they don't put subtitles to that. But the problem is their accents are so thick. I prefer the subtitles. But anyway.
Well, I prefer subtitles watching English language. I do. I can't understand anything anymore. I can't be alone here.
No, because my wife, she watches a lot of British shows and shows from like Wales, and it's like, what language are they speaking? You know, she has no problem with it. I struggle. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have a good ear for that stuff. But it's interesting. What's this dog poop story you're talking about? Because, you know, I had my dog. It's not a story.
It's not. It was no big deal. Susan's dog, it had to do with daylight savings time and her dog not, having his shit together, so to speak.
And deciding that just when I don't have sufficient time to take a walk before I was to call in for my sister, he looked at me and very clearly said, now.
Well, I feel for the dog because this time change affects my house.
No, well, we got it done. I was just reporting we got it done. I was very proud of him.
Very flexible dog you have there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, try to keep it light in these dark times and preparing for World War III.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Roger.
Right.
A light in
Bye-bye.
Best, the tranquility. Susan, I have one thing here I got to share with you, and then we got to go. I had to learn this when I was in journalism school. I don't know why. Why would I have learned this in journalism school? A very important Supreme Court case called Griswold versus Connecticut. Do you remember that?
I do remember Griswold, but I can't remember why. I remember it from law school. It's huge. It's a huge case.
It's a huge. You know why? And believe it or not, I think it was like 1970 something. Astonishingly, 1970 something. And the Supreme Court struck down, I believe, a Connecticut law that outlawed contraception.
Right.
Not even for married couples.
Right.
Griswold was about married couples could not legally buy contraception in Connecticut somebody can look up the date, but I swear it's in the 70s.
Wow.
Do you effing believe that? So not to get into the whole moving back on abortion thing, but listen to this.
Never say never.
Yeah, that's right. And never say it can't get worse. All three Republican candidates running for Attorney General in the state of Michigan are on record as opposing the ruling in Griswold v. Connecticut. All three.
Well, sure, the state has every right to control a family's reproductive abilities. It's absolutely of the state's interest.
This is how far gone the Republican Party is. Just want you to know. And this traces back to our obituary, because that guy would have approved of this. And that is what the Republican Party is now in Michigan. So if a Republican becomes Attorney General of that state, they do not believe that anybody, married or not, should be able to get contraception.
They also don't want to take care of all the children that are born that to families that have no resources for the multiple children, and that surprisingly still engaged in sexual intercourse.
That's right, because St. Paul and Thessalonians said, "Oh no welfare."
Yeah, they said no welfare. They didn't say no sex.
Well, no, they didn't. But if you had sex with the wrong person, they'd stone you. Everybody must get stoned. I took that out of context.
I know, but I used to have that. I used to think that all the time when that song came out. It always sounded like a Monty Python sketch to me.
I know. All right. Well, listen, guys, I know we lost a little part of the show, whatever. Susan talking about poop and dog poop and me talking about...
yeah, that was just us talking. That wasn't supposed to be the show.
Yeah. That was just us. Anyway, they did hear. By the way, people heard the tax thing and the poop thing.
And the tax. So forget about my taxes, folks. Okay. Bye. I'll do them, I promise.
Yeah, I gotta get around to it. What the hell? Anyway, Sue, thank you. Safe travels.
Okay. Bye. I missed you. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So, Goose and guys, all this depressing crap I had here sitting in front of me, I think that might be on tap for tomorrow. You just can't avoid it. I mean, reality. Unless everybody must get stoned. Out of here. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.